Why play Yasuo mid? Well, he's strong at most stages in the game, he has massive outplay potential, his ultimate can CC entire teams, and he's incredibly easy to farm with. However, he can be very hard to master, especially with his positioning, and he can be very squishy if hard CC'd. Yasuo's first passive is his secondary bar. This bar goes up when Yasuo moves, and when maxed out, taking damage from a champion or monster will consume this bar to give him a shield. His second passive is he gets 150% effect from crit strike chance, meaning when you finish your shield bow, instead of having 20% crit strike chance, you have 50%. However, his crits do deal 10% reduced damage compared to usual crits. In addition, for every crit strike chance over 100%, he's granted attack damage instead. Yasuo's Q makes him stab forward a small distance, dealing damage. If this hits a target, he gains a stack for 6 seconds. When he has 2 of these stacks, it turns his next Q into a long-range skill shot which deals damage and knocks enemies up. If Q is used while dashing, the ability will instead hit in a circle around him, and if it is the third empowered Q, it will also knock up. Yasuo's W will put up a wind wall which will block all enemy projectiles for 4 seconds. This can keep him incredibly safe, simply removing a ton of his opponent's abilities from the game. Yasuo's E dashes him through a target, dealing damage. This ability has a very small cooldown, and when used, it makes the next use of his E deal 25% more damage up to a maximum of 50%. Where this ability does have a very short cooldown, each target you dash through will go on cooldown, meaning you can't dash through the same target multiple times. Yasuo's ultimate can only be used on a champion who is airborne. He can knock an enemy up himself with his empowered Q, but this is often even stronger with allies knockups. When used, he dashes to the knocked up target or targets, keeping them airborne for an additional second and dealing a large amount of damage. After use, Yasuo's critical strikes will ignore 50% of his target's armor for 15 seconds. Yasuo has a ton of combos which are incredibly effective, but a good trade to go for is to charge the empowered Q on minions before dashing in with E and using Q to knock them up. After this, auto attack into ultimate into auto attack Q. For matchups, Yasuo does very well into mages, especially ones who rely on projectiles. However, he can struggle against champions who can deal with or ignore his mobility. For runes, take this, lethal tempo makes him a brilliant duelist. For build order, start blade and pot into tier 2 boots, shield bow and infedge. After this, get any of these as needed before finishing your build with any of these. For skill order, start Q then E then W before maxing Q then E then W, taking ult whenever you can. For summoner spells, take flash and ignite. Yasuo's early game is going to vary depending on your matchup. However, most importantly, you are a melee champion and your escape is reliant on you being able to dash through an enemy, so keeping your wave in a safe place and having your passive up as much as possible is important. While looking to farm hard, you're also looking for your windows to trade in. The most obvious one is when you've got your third hit of your Q available. This is where you want to dash into your opponent, use your Q to knock them up, auto attack and then dash away on a minion, which is a pretty free trade. Your first major power spike is when you get tier 2 boots. This gives you a huge amount more mobility and damage and allows you to hunt for kills aggressively. At this stage, you'll now be able to push your lane in quickly and look for kills, tower plates, or simply roam top or bot. If your top or bot laner has an easy knock-up, this will always be a great lane to target. When it comes to team fighting, your best role is the follow-up engage. If your team's able to engage with a knock-up, you can simply ultimate. This provides amazing value and puts you right where you need to be. If your team's got no knock-ups, you need to do it yourself. Use your E and W to protect yourself while stacking Qs on any targets you can. When fully stacked, look for that golden opportunity to land it on a carry and blow them up.